folks, it's Brittany Jackson from Learning Technologies, and today we're going to talk about creating a lesson in Moodle. So I'm here in the Moodle playground as normal, and up here I'm going to click on the Turn Editing feature on. You're going to need to do that no matter what. And I'm going to scroll down here, find a spot under one of the topics right here, and click Add an Activity or Resource. So from there, if I come down here, I can find the lesson option. So if I click on that, it's going to open and you need to name it something. So this is for the recording. That way it's there. You can put in a description and have that display on the course page like you do almost anything else in Moodle. In this case, I'm not going to put anything there. It is not a required feature. You can click on Appearance and link media if you wanted to, or if you wanted to be able, the students to be able to see like their ongoing score if they're doing questions and that kind of stuff in it. You can have them be able to see that, choosing yes, and what the minimum grade to display on the menu would be, as well as, do you want it to be a slideshow? How many number of answers do you typically want when you're asking questions within the lesson? And then, do you want to use default feedback? So if you want to just use standard feedback, then you would click yes on that one. And then you can choose a link to next activity, and you could choose one of the options that are here. I would probably just keep that within the lesson, so I normally don't choose anything else with that. And if you want them to be able to see how far along in the lesson they are, you can choose the progress bar here and click yes. And if you want them to see the menu of options where each spot where they can go to, you can click yes there if you'd like. I tend to leave most of that the same as default. And then just like normal, when is it available from? I'm not going to put a deadline in this case, but when is the due date? And if you give them a specific time limit that they need to complete this in. So it's sort of like a quiz in that regard, that you can set it so that you've only got 2 hours to complete this once you start it. You could add a password to protect your lesson, but most of the time you probably don't need that unless it's very specific that you're giving it to one student or something like that, or you want to give it to specific students. And then whether or not you would allow the lesson to be attempted offline using the mobile app. I would keep that as default no. We don't encourage the use of the mobile app. We encourage that all students, faculty, and staff utilize the web browser version of Moodle, so off of Chrome or Safari. And if you come down to the next one, we've got flow. So flow control, we've got allow student review, so they can kind of see where they're at throughout it again. Provide option to try a question again. So if you want them to answer some questions and you want them to be able to answer it again because you just want them to master the information, you could choose yes there. I tend to put yes there because most of the time what I want them to do is master the information. Maximum number of attempts, so similar to a quiz, how many times can they try each question? And if you click show more, there is action after correct answer. So if they choose the correct answer, they follow the normal lesson path, or they could go to an unanswered page or an unseen page. I tend to leave it with follow the lesson path. And then the number of pages to show at a time. So you can have them show multiple pages of your lesson at a time. I tend to do one at a time. That just makes it a little bit easier to break it up for your students. Grade, just like in any other part of your Moodle course, any other assignment or anything like that. If you click grade, you can choose the points, the scale, or none. Put in your maximum grade for the task itself, and then where does it fall in your grade categories if you've got the grade book set up with categories. Grade to pass, you can put that in. Practice lesson, you could leave it as a practice lesson so that they could kind of go through it once, or you can give it as, I tend to leave this as no. There's not really, most of the time, a reason for me to have them do it a couple of times, but there might be a reason for your course. And then retakes allowed. So are they able to retake this lesson and answer the questions again? I tend to say yes, and that's mostly again because these aren't so much about getting the points as they are about mastering the material. And then outcomes, you could choose running a marathon. I tend to again leave most of these just like normal on any other assignment or anything else in Moodle. I tend to leave the rest of these as the defaults. But you can also go in and update these if you'd like. And then once I've chosen all of my options, I can click here and go save and return to course. And it takes me back to my main page. And if I scroll down to that topic area, and it'll be the last thing that's in here. This is for the recording. So you can see here that the lesson options has a purple page with a bookmark on it, basically. So if you click on that, now it'll take you in where you can start setting up the lesson. So you can preview your lesson. Right now there's nothing for me to preview, so it's not going to let me do that. You can edit your lesson. I tend to start with a content page. This is a test. If you're doing that, you have to put a page title for the content page. So I would put, if there was a bunch of information I wanted them to know about this lesson, I would put it right here. I could add media just like you can in almost any other circumstance. And then once you've got all of that information on that page that you're ready for them to do, you can put content 1. You can have it then jump to tester will be the next page. And then you could say jump to next page. So if we hit save page from there, now we see that we've got a page called This is a Test. I'm going to add another page, mostly because I want you to be able to see kind of the preview of what happens. So I'm going to add now a question page. So there's options here where you could do just a content page, an end of branch cluster, end of cluster. So those are, if you want to cluster things together. But add a question page is where I'm going to go next. These are the two that I typically use. So add a new page or content page, and then add a question page. These are the most frequently used ones when you're looking at lessons. So here, when I'm in the lesson and I chose question page, it asks me what kind of question type do I want. So I could choose any of the normal options. So multiple choice, matching, true, false, short answer. I'm going to leave it as multiple choice. And so here again, you'd have the title for that page. So it was called Tester, so we're going to call it the same thing. And here you put in your question. How many miles do you run a day? And if there's multiple options that are correct, you could click this. And then down here, you can put in your answers. 24 miles a day. Yes, this is correct. And then you can put 12. And because this one's correct up here, this first one, it has a score of 1. So that's showing that that's the correct answer. Answer 2 is not correct. So I'm going to put, a little message. Sorry, try again. Stay on this page. If they've gotten it correct, if I scroll back up here, you can see that it goes to the next page. But again, answer is 0. And I'm going to put in 5. Nope. And again, 0 stays on this page until they get it correct. 500. Whoa, nope. So if I go ahead and click Save Page now the question should be there. Everything should be there. So now if I click on Preview, I can come over here and kind of go through it like a student would. So here's that first landing page. I had This is a Test as the title. And in this lesson, you will learn about lessons. So now you see at the bottom of that first page, got a spot for that next page, which is called Tester. So if I click on Tester as the next one, here I can choose from the options here. And if I click on 500, which is the wrong answer, if I click Submit, I get that response. Whoa, nope, I do not run that many times, that many miles a day. If I hit Continue, it takes me back. So now if I type in 24 and I hit Submit, yes, this is correct. Now if I could go on, if I had any additional pages, anything like that, they would get that information. This particular one, because I only have the 2 pages, puts in congratulations, they've reached the end of the lesson. So if we come back over here, you can come back to this edit page. You can do collapsed and expanded down here. I tend to like the collapsed view a little bit more because then I can see things a little bit better. You can also run reports from the lessons, so you can see who all has attempted it and completed it, as well as the statistics. And then you can even go a little more detailed with those statistics. And then you can also go in, if you did essays, you can go in and grade the essays here as well. I'm going to show you briefly, really quickly here, an option of what a fuller lesson looks like so that you can kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about and see it a little bit easier. So I'm going to go to and in here I've utilized lessons quite a bit. I found they were useful in this particular format. So if I scroll down here, I can find, here's this first lesson. So taking your first step. There's that description so that I know what I'm about to go in and do. And if I click on taking your first steps here, I can see, here's this first page. It's going to take me prepare and build my online course. Because I've already looked at this as the instructor, I can choose to look at it from the last page I saw, but I'm going to choose no because I kind of want to walk you through it. So if I click no and I go to preview, here is the first page. So I've titled it The First Step is the Hardest. Got a little image here with some information. And then I can come down here and click on what is the story I'm trying to tell. If I click on that, that takes me to the next page. So here, what is the story we're trying to tell? And I've put in information that the learners can learn from here. If I click on using the course goals to drive your creation, it's another content page. So that information is provided there. I've got a link in there. So again, you can put media, you can put links. And then if we jump to the syllabus, I've got it linked to the Hiram College syllabus template here. And then the next page is how will I know when I have enough plans? So I can always see where I'm going in the lesson, which is why when you put that name at the bottom of the page before, that way they kind of know what's going to happen next. So here, again, just more information. And when we click on next steps, Now we're going to go, okay, let's review. So if I click on review, here, just like we saw before on those question pages, what question should we ask ourselves when we first begin to create an online course? Where does the rain in Spain fall? Submit. Rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain. Yeah, I'd like to try again because I got that wrong clearly. So what is the story I'm trying to tell? So if I hit submit, that shows me I got it correct. Now I hit continue because I can go on from there now. And what should drive your course creation? The course goals, the activities, Miss Daisy, and the students and cars. So the course goals is the correct answer in this case. Exactly, hit continue, going to the next question. So I'm continuing to make my way through this. So where should you start when planning out your course? Writing out the syllabus. Please don't go to screaming, I can't do this, please. Yes, working through the syllabus is great. Hit continue because I can always, have added in that feedback for folks to know. And here I can choose one that's a select, check all that apply. So how will I know when I have enough planned? I can utilize this article. I can use the minimum requirements if I run 20 miles in the snow, just so you can see what happens. So we got this one correct. We got the second one correct. And if I run 20 miles in the snow, why would you do that? Yes, I'd like to try again. I don't know why you'd run 20 miles in the snow. I'm going to be honest. If you hit I can utilize and I can use the minimum requirements, I hit submit now. Those are the correct ones. Hit continue. I can move on to that next page, and this takes me to the end of this lesson. So if I click the end, now I'm back at the end of it. So then I can go in here as the instructor and look at the report and see who tried. So I see that I tried doing it, and I see that Holly has come in and tried to do it. So you can see, what their score was, how well they did. So that's the good part. So lessons are really useful if you want to kind of break things down for folks. I highly encourage you to utilize them. If you have questions or run into issues, you can always reach out to us here in Learning Technologies. We are located in the library on the first floor, straight back in the Tech and Trek office, just before the Clock Tower Cafe. And as always, feel free to reach out with any questions. And as I always say, happy Moodling.